Welcome to Bryer Showcase. I'm Bryer, and today I'm going to be naming 10 of my favorite American bands. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because many of the people that I follow on YouTube, they've already did videos naming their American bands. You know, Jason Neal Millennial, Rich Strickler did one as well. And so I kind of thought to myself, do I really want to hop in this bandwagon and sell out? And then I thought, yes, definitely. So here we are. So I have my 10 already set to go. Keep in mind, these are my opinions. I'm just fair warning, I am a young person, so my list is definitely not going to be like most people's list, but again, this should be a lot of fun. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. All right, so let's do it. So they're not really in any particular order, but you know, these are just my 10 favorites. So the first one I'm going to bring up is The Doors, and of course I brought Morrison Hotel. Fantastic band. Jim Morrison, one of the most recognizable frontmans in rock. His lyrics are always so, I mean, they're so interesting. You read them, and he's always been such a great poet. So many great lines he does. Some you can't always know what the hell he's talking about, but for the most part, it's just very great. And the rest of the band were equally as talented. You know, Ray Manzarek, great keyboardist, many great keyboard lines, and John Densmore, great drummer, and of course Robbie Krieger is a very underrated guitarist. So yep, The Doors definitely got to be up there with the best. Coming up next, I'm going to go with Aerosmith, and yes, I am a fan of Aerosmith. I'm just saying that because my mom still thinks I don't like them, but yeah, I am a Aerosmith fan, very big Aerosmith fan. But I'm not. The thing is, I'm not a fan of their 80s stuff and 90s as well. Even the stuff they released in the 2000s, like, I don't really care for it. But the 70s stuff is where it's at. They're at their heaviest and most hard rocking at this point. Steven Tyler, again, another one of those great frontman, one of the great voices as well. And of course Joe Perry, another great guitar player, and everyone else in the band has also really contributed well to the sound. So yes, Aerosmith, and I brought it out Night in the Rut. So again, trying not to be typical because I bring out rocks a lot. So I want to try and mix it up. So coming up next, we're going to Van Halen. Yep, good old Van Halen. Of course, Eddie Van Halen, rest in peace. One of the great guitarists ever. David Lee Roth, again, great frontman. Michael Anthony. Sorry, I almost said Anthony Phillips for some reason, but Michael Anthony, not the most flashy bass player, but his backing vocals really add to the sound. And of course, Alex Van Halen, great drummer. The David Lee Roth era will always be my favorite era. I do like some of the Sammy Hagar era, but I've never really had any interest in it. But maybe someday I'll check those out in full. I do like a couple songs from it again. But yeah, Van Halen, awesome band. Okay, still sticking with some hard rock. So some people heavy metal, but I think they don't really fall in heavy metal nowadays. But I'm gonna go with Blue Oyster Cult next. Absolutely love this band. For many years I only knew like the two big hits, and then those of course would be Don't Fear the Reaper and Burning for You. But I think it was like in 2020 I really got into a huge Blue Oyster Cult kick, and I've just been a fan ever since. I have every album up to Fire of Unknown Origins, and this is probably one of my favorites, very underrated. Of course, this is Spectres, a lot of great songs on here, so yeah, absolutely have to mention them here. Fantastic band. Okay, going for Eagles, of course. Again, some people may not be a huge Eagles fan. Some people say they're overrated. I mean, Eagles will always hold a special place in my heart. When I was growing up, like, the Eagles were like the first like classic rock act I ever recall listening to. Of course, Hotel California was the song I heard the most growing up, and I still enjoy that song. But even when I listen to their catalog, there's some great songwriting in here. The vocal harmonies between the members are great. So I brought out the Long Run again. Try not to be typical here, but yeah, the Long Run's a great one too. So yeah, Eagles, again, they hold a special place in my heart. And after that, we're going to Creedence Clearwater Revival next. I recently did a ranking video on this band. If you have not checked it out, I'll put a link in the description so you can go check it out. But yeah, this Creedence Clearwater Revival, just an incredible band. John Fogerty, great vocalist, great songwriter. I mean, I always loved his lyrics. And the rest of the band as well, they definitely were the backbone of a lot of John's songs. Kind of a shame how it ended. Especially, I think even now, the rest of the remaining members are still bickering, which is kind of a shame. But you know, in that short time they were together, they just made some incredible music, and some songs, and even songs we still hear today, and some of them even still relevant today. So yeah, definitely important band here. Okay, we're almost done. We have a few more to go. Okay, so of course we gotta have some female representation here, so I'm going with Heart. I mean, Ann Wilson and Nancy, great siblings in rock music. You know, Ann Wilson, incredible vocalist, one of the most powerful female vocalists I ever heard, and you have Nancy Wilson, who is a very great guitar player. And even though the rest of the lineup has changed multiple times throughout the band's career, it's always been Ann and Nancy. And so yeah, I definitely wanted to include them. And I brought out one of their 80s albums. I actually do like a lot of the 80s stuff, because you know, my mom grew up in the 80s, so naturally I grew to like this stuff. It wasn't until later, until I found out about the 70s stuff. But you know, it doesn't matter. Heart, definitely part in my list. Alright, this is a band that probably wouldn't have made the list if you would ask me about a year ago. But I'm going with Steely Dan. Again, absolutely fantastic musicianship on here. Very jazzy, can be funky. I mean, just absolutely great songwriting here by Donald Fagen and Walter Becker. I brought out Pretzel Logic. Great album and great band as well. Right, just two more to go. Next up, going with Styx. Yep, I'm a huge Styx fan. I know they're one of those bands that there's some people that love them, there's people that hate them. I love this band. I mean, especially the classic lineup, you know, Dennis DeYoung, Tommy Shaw, JY, of course James Young, and the Panazzo brothers, Chuck and what's the brother's name? John. I totally blanked on the drummer. But regardless, absolutely fantastic stuff. Like starting with this album and then going all the way up to, I guess, Kilroy Was Here. I actually do kind of like Kilroy Was Here, if I'm going to be honest. But even though the 4 Wooden Nickel era albums, I think there still has some strong stuff in there. So yep, Styx, great band. I mean, they have some hard rock edge, they have a bit of progressive rock, but even have some like commercial sensibility to them. So yeah, fantastic, love them. And then the final band I'll be talking about, again, this also falls in the category of some people love them, some people hate them, and that's Journey. Yep, Journey, just absolutely adore this band. I mean, and what I have here is actually their newest album that they released last Friday. I'll probably talk more about this particular album when I do my end of the month CD haul, so look forward to that. But yeah, Journey, regardless who's singing, like Neil Schon is just a very fantastic guitar player, and Jonathan Cain has some great keyboard bits throughout the decades. And yes, Steve Perry, especially during that classic period, like absolutely fantastic vocalist, one of my favorite singers of all time. And even now we have Arnel Pineda on vocals, and I think he does a fantastic job in the role. And although the lineup has been turbulent, especially recent times, but regardless of who's actually in the band, I mean, they've always had been able to made some fantastic, great stuff, and again, kind of similar to the Eagles. This band holds a special place in my heart. So there you have it. Those are my 10 favorite American bands. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want to name your favorite American bands, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll look forward to reading those. So thank you again for watching. If you enjoy this, then please give it a like, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye for now.